Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is massive arrests. I believe that that's very close, and I'm going to give you some reasons why I say that. Another way you could say this is we're going to be talking about arrests in prophecy and also the return of DJT. So why do I think that all of this is soon? I'll give you some reasons, and you're not going to find these in the newspaper. So about 6 weeks ago, Friday night, it had already been in my heart that this was going to be the last Bible study, but I thought it was talking about the last Bible study of the summer, because every summer we would take off a Bible study from about June through, we'd start it back up first part of September, because that's one of the things you learn when you do a Bible study. You got to take a break. If you want to continue the Bible study, you got to take a break. So every summer we would take a break to the Bible study. So about, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was driving up to church Friday evening, and it was just here in my heart. And there was no voice, there was no angel visit, there was no vision. It's just, he spoke to my heart. He said, "This is the last Bible study." And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I know, last Bible study for the summer. No, this is your last Bible study. I didn't want to hear that because I love doing the Bible study. So I got up there, and the way we do, we would meet up early, and several of us would walk next door to the Whataburger, and we have a Whataburger. And that's kind of our MO before we get started. So I'm sitting there talking about 3 or 4 people that came in, and I said, I believe the Lord has spoken to my heart. This is my last Bible study. And I said, not just of the summer, but I believe it's the last Bible study of my life. And, I mean, it's a little melancholy. It's a little teary-eyed to think about that. So then, about last weekend, I was not going to go to my 50th class reunion. I told Leslie, I said, I was working my senior year in high school. I didn't do much with my high school friends, and I said, I don't know a whole lot of them. I don't have a lot of connection with them, and so I don't even know if I should go. But I had a dream. I believe it was like Thursday or Friday night, and I can't remember the dream, but it just said, go to the class reunion. So I said, all right, fine. So the next day, I had Leslie book a flight, and I went to my class reunion. 50th class reunion. So yeah, I graduated in 1972. And I told Leslie, I said, again, in my heart, in here, I sense that the reason I'm going is to make a connection to Prophetic Oil. So let me tell you the brief story on that. So in 1982, a man by the name of Hayseed Stevens, part-time pastor, full-time oil man, was invited to go to Israel to meet Menachem Begin, then prime minister. While he was there, he said the Lord spoke to his heart and said the world's largest oil field is located at the southwest end of the Dead Sea. And he said, well, if it's in the Bible, if it's true, it's got to be in the Bible. So he found 17 verses in the Bible that say in the last days massive amounts of oil will be found in Israel. 1995, he started a company to begin gathering the funds to go drill the well. 1998, we put him on a 10-city speaking tour, which blew financial life into his vision. 2003, he fell dead of a heart attack, and his son took over the company, and things didn't go too well. 2007, his former attorney called and asked me if I would start a new corporation to continue the vision to find oil in Israel. My exact response was, thanks, but no thanks. I mean, I'll pray about it, but probably not. So my get me out of this prayer that night was, Lord, as you know, I don't have any extra $5,000 laying around to give that oil attorney to start some oil company. So if you want me to do this, send the money. I thought that was a pretty good prayer. I thought he'd get me out of it. Next day, a phone call come in. The lady wants to talk to you about oil in Israel. I called her. Thank you for calling. The reason I asked you to call is because God woke me up 2 nights ago and told me to give you the money to continue the vision to find oil in Israel. Let me back up. Lord woke me up 2 nights ago and told me to give you $30,000 to continue the vision to find oil in Israel. My exact response was, well, fine. I guess I can't get out of this. She sent the check cleared, so we started Prophetic Oil Company. So I set up an 18-city speaking tour from Beaumont, Texas, all the way up into Minneapolis. After I spoke in Amarillo that night, I believe the date was June 14th of 2008. My prayer closet that night, I said, Lord, as you know, it's not going so good. Spending $3,500 per city in advertising, not many people showing up, not many people getting saved. And that night he spoke to me. I mean, I heard words, and they said, quote, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel, unquote. Now, my attorney tells me anytime I say that, I have to also give a disclaimer, and that is, I cannot guarantee we're ever going to get the money drilled for or hit oil in Israel. Now, let's go back to the dream. Again, last week, like Thursday or Friday night, so I get a dream, go to the class reunion, and I told Leslie, I said, I think it has something to do with me making connections for Prophetic Oil. Now, right now, I do not have the money to go drill the well in Israel, and I'll talk about that more here before long. So anyway, and I can tell you what happened. And this is going to be kind of a long program today, but it's going to be well worth it for you to stay to the end if you want to know what's going on. So I'm telling you. So last Friday afternoon, I go to DFW Airport, and there was a lot of chairs, but I felt like I wanted to sit in that chair. So I walked over to the chair, and there was a guy sitting next to it. And as I walked up, I says, is anyone taking this chair? And there was a white hat sitting in the chair. He said, oh, no, I picked up the hat. And I sat down, and I said, oh, man, that's a nice hat. And it was a nice cowboy hat, nice white cowboy hat. And I said, it reminds me of Hayseed Stevens' hat. Do you know Hayseed Stevens? No. I said, well, he was part-time oil man, part-time pastor, full-time oil man at a Willow Park, Texas. He had a hat like that. Well, that started the conversation. So I told him the same story I just told you about the vision to find oil in Israel. So I said, so what are you guys doing here? He said, well, we just got back from Argentina. We just shot 4,000 doves. 4,000 doves? Yeah, the farmers down there don't like them, and they appreciate us coming down and shooting doves for them. So we go down, and we rent the shells, the guns, and everything, and we help them out with their dove problem, and we have a great time. What do you do with the doves? They take it into the cities and give them away to the people that need food. So it's just a lot of fun for us. I said, great. Well, what do you do for a living? Now get this. So the guy says, I'm an oil attorney. Well, guess what? One of the first things when I do get the money to go drill the well in Israel, one of the first things I'm going to do is call an oil attorney to get all of the things all set up to do this. Now, I'm going to talk more about oil in Israel another day, but the point is, so God told me 4 or 5 weeks ago that I'm not going to be doing Bible studies again. And matter of fact, I even told Leslie this. I said, I think it's because something's about to happen with the vision to go find oil in Israel. I think that somehow God is about to give us the money to go drill the well in Israel. Remember, he said, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel. Now, I'm not selling stock. We're not offering stock. Should the day come that we offer stock, if you want to be involved, if you'll send an email to askstan@prophecyclub.com, I will put your email over into the little basket of those people that are interested in being a part of the vision to find oil in Israel. Now, the reason I think that the reason he's saying I'm not going to be doing Bible studies anymore is because I'm about to go to Israel and be involved in finding the oil for Israel. And the other reason he told me to go to that class reunion is so that I can meet that oil attorney out at DFW Airport because, again, I believe he's about to send the money for us to go drill the well in Israel. Again, I do not know how that's going to come. It's not my problem. It's his problem. He said he's going to give me the money. I believe he'll give me the money. Again, remember the disclaimer. Now, all of that stacks up to what I'm about to say today. I think that there's about to be some really big changes in our world. And I've got a couple more reasons. So this lady sent me this email. As you can see, the date is 6/30/2022. And her name is Amanda. She said, had a dream last night. It was just a loud voice, like a loudspeaker. Now, You may be saying, well, is she a prophet? I don't know. But the Bible says in the last days he's going to pour out his spirit on all flesh. Young men will dream dreams, young men will see visions. If we're in the last days, and I think most of us believe we are, then we have to understand God is pouring his spirit out on all people. And that means some people that are not even Christians. I believe there's a lot of people he is talking to right now like I've never seen him talk like this. Anyway, not this much. So what she heard was, ladies and gentlemen, nothing this August the 6th will be as expected. That's not the way you and I would say it. But maybe that's the way God would say it. Let me say it again. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing this August 6th will be as expected. So she says, as I was trying to understand the significance and instructions myself, I looked up Jewish holidays. Sure enough, on 8/6/2022 is the 9th of Av. So you might be saying, so what's the 9th of Av? So I looked that up to make sure I describe it right. Tish B'Av, or the 9th of Av, or the Tish B'Av, or the 9th of August, in this particular case, is an annual fast day in Judaism on which a number of disasters in Jewish history occurred. Primarily the destruction of both Solomon's temple by the Neo-Babylonian Empire and the second temple by the Roman Empire in Jerusalem. Now, does that mean something bad's coming in August 6th? Or does that mean something bad has arrived by August the 6th? I'm going to say this. I believe that God started Joseph's kitchen because he wants to feed a lot of his people. It's not about making money. And in this case, it's not about winning souls, at least not immediately. It's about feeding his people. So I'm going to tell you what I think. I think if you do not have food in your home, food and water, to be able to stay in your home and not leave the four walls of your home for at least a year, you are not in a good place. If this is true, if something big and bad happens on or just before August 6th, what does that tell you? Well, that should be telling you that you need to get after whatever preparations you're going to make before then. I just had the guy just here doing a survey of my home, and I'm having solar installed in my home. That's right, big panels put up on the roof. And I said, how long does it take? He says 6 to 8 weeks. I said, is there any way we can have it in by the 1st of August? He said, I'll put in that request. Why? Primarily because of this lady's dream. See, a lot of people don't want to believe all of this. They don't want to believe that God's talking. But 2 Chronicles 20:20 says, believe God's prophets, and so shall you prosper. I want to believe God's prophets. I also want to believe people that aren't necessarily God's prophets. The Bible says that the Holy Spirit will lead us into all truth. And to me, this sounds like truth. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing this August the 6th will be as expected. What's that saying? It's just saying when the lady says she hears an audible voice, I don't know this lady. I can't vouch for it and other things. But there's been a lot of this. A lot of normal people are getting words from the Lord like I've never seen in my lifetime. Now, there's more. On March the 9th of 2021, I had concluded that I was about to go on the program and say, look, I guess all of this DJT coming back and all of this whole turnaround and this good news, I guess there's just not going to be any good news. So that was going to be the program. So I got sleepy. I took a nap. And when I woke up from the nap, I heard an audible voice, not with my ears, but in my heart. I mean, I promise, I heard words. And it said, massive arrests, massive arrests. Now, I believe that those massive arrests are very close. I don't know when. I was frankly hoping it would happen July the 4th. But then I was hoping it happened July the 3rd. I remember Dmitri was told the fall of America would start with an internal revolution. I believe this is the internal revolution. Now, there's more. Hang on. Yesterday's program, July the 4th, weekly geopolitical analysis from Benjamin Fulford. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he says a second American revolution is underway, but this time it'll affect the whole world. They're negotiating a surrender to the World Freedom Alliance. That's the good guys. This is exactly what is being negotiated this week as the G20 country representatives gather in Indonesia. So he is also saying that the internal revolution is underway. I had another guy tell me yesterday that the Federal Reserve's charter was up exactly 10 years ago, but they agreed to give them 10 more years, but without renewal, and that renewal was supposed to be concluded July the 5th, as in today when I'm recording this. Now, I looked up Federal Reserve. They said, no, it's perpetual. I don't know the truth, but it's something to look at. Let's go on. There's more. 7/29/2021, Anita Walker said she had a dream. She said the TV came on and made the sound of the emergency broadcast system like in the 1980s with the emergency beeping sound that we all remember back in the day, and the voice came up on the TV saying, "We have tragic news that PJB," I won't say the name, "has died." So I looked it up. Here's what that emergency broadcast system sounded like.
This is a test. For the next 60 seconds, this station will conduct a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test.
Then the vision shifted to KH and NP. Dare not say the names. Plotting how KH would become president and NP would become vice president, and that they could put in place all the bad things that they had planned. It went silent, and the vision shifted back to the same voice saying, America will not go without a president. Due to, I can't say those words, the cheating, DJT is now your president, and the vision ended. Now, is this lady hearing from God? I've made several programs talking about numerous people that have been saying he's going to come back, including one of the most reliable, Henry Gruver. But that's not the topic I want to get to today. I'm talking about a timing, and I do not know when. I'm just telling you I think it's soon. So we talked about this. A midnightcry.com, guy didn't give his name. He said, I woke with a dream that I'd had in the past, a beautiful sky, white clouds all over. Suddenly, the sky went black. Massive pandemonium, chaos, man, with dead bodies all over. I heard the words, it will begin the second half of 2022. You know, I've been doing this Bible prophecy 40 years, been doing a program on it now for 29 years. I've never seen God talk like this. I've never seen him talk this much. I've never seen him give dates. Matter of fact, Prophet Leslie in the other room right now, she will tell you if anybody gives a date, it's not God. So that's how strong we are against dates. But yet, people are getting dates. Do we throw it away? Now, hang on. Maybe we don't. Maybe we need to listen. Hey, nothing wrong with preparing, right? There's more. He said, I said, Lord, I need a confirmation. The very next day, I got the exact same dream, plus another. It will happen. It will begin the second half of 2022. In the second dream, I saw a young man delivering newspapers. They left the newspapers in bags, and the paper boy would deliver them door to door. But instead of a newspaper, he pulled out a machine gun and started killing people. It was representing civil war. The young man delivering the good news of the newspapers, the media, now had turned upon his own country. Then December 30, 2021, the Lord gave me the same dream that he'd given me on the 26th and 27th. Beautiful blue sky, clouds, flips, becomes black mayhem, pandemonium, dead bodies. Then I heard the words, it begins the second half of 2022. He says, God's been very patient with us, but apparently now his patience has run out. Now, this is one of the primary things I wanted to get to. June 30, 2022, this is from Timothy Dixon. Now, I love Timothy Dixon. I'm not trying to attack him, but he does stumble and fumble around quite a bit. So I can tell you right up front, I had to do a lot of heavy editing on this to make it make sense. I'm not trying to change anything he said. I'm just simply trying to make it understandable, and I think you'll agree. And I know there'll be people that go out and watch this and see if my interpretation is correct, and I believe you'll say, yes, it's correct. It's as close as I could get anyway. So he says, I dreamed that I was standing in a hallway of a large house looking both directions, a never-ending hallway. There were people going in and out of the hall in different rooms. The people represented a mixture of different types of businesses the people were in. There was a long table with people sitting around it, part of an organized effort to form a new world reform. We call it the New World Order. In other words, world government. There were several petroleum companies, including Chinese-based petroleum companies, many companies of the world. It was an organized effort, a worldwide takeover of oil. I saw there was a major loss of income for the oil industry during DJT's presidency. The mainstream media was cooperating. Oh, yeah, we know about that. Their money was dependent upon the successful takeover of the oil industry. The plan was to flood the world with false information and make the people believe that it was the best thing for them. They were lying, though. The Lord showed me it was all tied together. This empire was being built upon the blood of innocent people. I was shocked to see the depth of their plans. They will stop at nothing to achieve their objectives. Now, what's their objective? They want their man, the Antichrist, set on the Ark of the Covenant, the golden throne of God, showing himself that he is in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. That's where all of this is heading. They're linked to every department. The leaders of our nation had been bribed or blackmailed, my words describing what he said, being bribed or blackmailed to sell us out. Some believed that they were not selling us out. To some, it honestly looked like the best thing to do. But some of them knew exactly what they were doing, selling us out, and wanted America to fall. I saw their plan. The ones that show compassion on their fellow man are considered weak and unprofitable to the New World Reform. In other words, Christians. This group of 50 people were called navigators. The New World Reform did not want the world to know their plans. They were carefully being planned by some of the wealthiest people in the world, backed by the petrodollar. I see a facility under a mountain in Nevada and the Central Control Center in Switzerland. Well, duh. We've known that Central Control System is Switzerland. Though Switzerland was really the bad guys really behind World War II and all of the killing of the Jews. Anyway, let's go on. The Central Control Center in Switzerland, where they make the decisions, all keeping this private from the world. Christians are considered unprofitable because they are merciful and Christ-like. That's the whole point. They want to put their man on the throne while killing as many Christians as possible. These are the people who control wars and finances, need supplies, and they need supplies for war. They are creating events to give them more money for war. A very large barefoot angel with white raiment, white hair, black eyes, with a two-edged sword on his back, and a handle upward and no holster to hold it, said, I am the guardian of the harvest. I'm here to ensure the harvest is not hurt. This angel was stopping all things that would hinder the last harvest. Now, I've got a lot of people, a lot of these dreams and visions here just lately saying the harvest, talking about miracles, are about to begin. He's about to say it here. The navigators of the NWR could not understand how Christians were succeeding. It was the hand of God. The Pentagon was affected. Not everyone in it, but there were many, many traitors acting as if they were for the United States, but they had a private agenda. I could see the 7th chapter of Daniel taking shape. Some of the people were deceived in darkness and would not listen to the warnings. Well, tell me about it. In the dream, I was blowing a shofar, telling people what was coming. I saw it at 2027 and 2030. Interesting, he didn't see beyond 2030. We've talked about that too. I went inside every door connected to the hallway, and every door led toward the navigator. Their plans were being organized. There were scientists, experts, an array of different professional people in it. There was a very well planned and they were very well planned and being pushed every day. I saw back into 2016 that when Hillary lost unexpectedly, they quickly reverted to Plan B. But if Hillary had won, our nation of America would have already been under siege by Romanism, known also as communism. The real God put DJT into place in 2016 was to give America more time for the salvation of many souls. America was not aware of the change that was being pushed. I saw inside the plan of the fake trial about January 2021, I can't say the exact date, taking place now. It's a fake trial. They're pushing a lie, a made-up story to convince America their version of events is actually accurate. They want you to believe what they say. I heard Scripture saying we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. All this is planned and inspired by Satan. It is selling lies. They use a series of lies over and over and over until people accept it as truth, to weaken and to destroy the chance that DJT will come back. People are being bribed with large amounts of money to lie. And there are more lies coming to try to get America to accept their lies to further their cause. They are in a war to change the morals of our country, to cleanse the world of our kind of people, Christians. It was their agenda. There were connections to the Roman Catholic Church, but it was not Christians, but traitors presenting themselves as Catholics to conquer the world. They wore the Catholic clothing, but they were not Catholic. They were placed in positions to help the transition go smoothly. And you need to look at this, okay? So I took out the letter here for legal reasons, but FX News, he says, is going to turn away from the truth. Well, surprise, surprise. I think they turned away from the truth, if they ever did have it, back in the days when they stabbed DJT in the back. And I saw Linwood and Sidney Powell. Linwood had a large skeleton key. They opened an old trap door so disguised you'd never see it. Sidney Powell turned, saying, "This will change everything." Now, what is the door? There is a plan, I'm told, that they have made about an 8-hour video exposing all of the lies, the tricks, traps, the cheating, the breaking of laws, all in an 8-hour video. And when the good guys take over and kick the bad guys out, they're going to play this video on a loop 3 times a day for 10 days straight, so that everybody has a chance to see all of the bad things that the bad guys were doing, in hopes that America has enough good in it to begin to turn around. Now, I can already tell you the answer is, saw another angel come down from heaven, and the earth was lightened with his glory, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, "Babylon has fallen has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." In other words, the internal revolution, which is the attempt of the good guys to kick out the bad guys, will be successful, but only briefly. Then, just as Dmitri was told, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution started by the communists, and then, of course, the Russians will attack. Evil was in control of the food industry and farmers. Evil had been working for a long time to empty our store shelves. I'm telling you, if you do not have food for a year at least, you need to go to Joseph's Kitchen. Right now, we have it. I say Joseph Kitchen, it's not me. They have it. And it takes 2-3 weeks to get it to you. So I'm telling you, I'm warning you, you better go to Joseph's Kitchen. You better get yourself an order in there. The advantage of Joseph's Kitchen is most places about $10,000 a year to feed one person for a year. You got that? $10,000 one person 1 year. Joseph's Kitchen can show you how to do it using wheat for about, in the ballpark, around $1,000 a person. josephskitchen.com. Evil was in control of the food industry and farmers. Evil had been working for a long time to empty our store shelves. I saw the shelves empty, our food being attacked. Every source, on every side. The borders are being flooded, bringing in hostile characters into the country on purpose. This is the battle between light and darkness. This is the battle between Christians and the evil guys. And what he's going to say here is Christians win for a brief time, and I agree with that. But in the long run, we lose until Jesus returns. Now, this next phrase was unclear what he is saying. This is the best I could pull out of it. He says, this year, there will be a siege. I believe that's what he's saying. This year, there will be a siege. Evidence and strong information will be handed to the world. Remember what I said? An 8-hour video with all the evidence, repeating every 8 hours 3 times a day. This year will be a siege. I think it's talking about an internal revolution. I think what he's saying is the internal revolution that was given to Dimitri Duduman is going to take place this year. I think that's what it's saying. Again, I wasn't certain, but to the best of my ability, I think that's what it's saying. Evidence and strong information will be handed to the world. Two, and I'm not going to say this, SC judges will pass away. He said it twice. The news is lying to everyone about the violence in the cities. The governor of Illinois will call in the National Guard for Chicago. Something happens to the mayor. The power of God started moving through the cities. The times started changing. I was shown the current year of 2022 in the next 6 months. What did the other prophecy say? In the next 6 months, a lot of the past deeds were brought to light. That's the 8-hour video playing, okay? Were brought to light. The Spirit of God moved on the hearts of the judges, and the Lord said, remember the dream of the federal judge standing up in Arizona. I am, and I will bring these things that hath been hid. In other words, the evil things are going to be brought to light. All will see. I will touch the hearts of judges. I saw the unfolding of the next coming years. In the next coming 6 months, that's the second time he said that, in the next coming 6 months, there will be a handing down of the proof of the crimes against the United States of America. I'm going to read that again. In the next coming 6 months, and he's not the only one who said this, in the next coming 6 months, there will be a handing down of the proof of the crimes against the United States of America. The plans to push again, to put the New World reform in action, is in motion. Then I heard the Lord say, warn the people of the things to come. Tell the good and tell the bad, so the days will not come upon my people unaware. I saw the information being put into the hands of people and judges in such a way that vast numbers of people began to believe. They began to believe the truth. They began to see it was not just a conspiracy theory. These evil things had in fact happened in our country. The news released the truth. Finally, people began to see a gross darkness had covered America. The light of truth began to shine in America, and also the Word of God. People woke up like never before. The sun was shining full force. There came a great change through all this. There came a great manifestation of the power of God. We've been talking about that too. I saw the hand of God like I've never seen it in my life. The Lord stood up for his people. Not one hair of their head is going to perish. Now let me just say, there's been other ones that have seen a lot of people die. Remember, Coverstone was told, a lot of you will be with me shortly. So how all of that works out, I don't know. Finally, the world is going to see how it pays to live for Jesus Christ. The Lord was revealing or unveiling his great war efforts that had been fought by the holy angels that had been dispatched. We were seeing great changes taking place in our country. The Lord stood up and said, it shall come to pass that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Nothing will hinder the move of my Spirit. No man nor nation will stand. For the Lord has spoken. Now, apparently he's talking about this coming on soon. Now, not my heart to attack other ministers. That's not me. From the very beginning of Prophecy Club, my attitude has always been, if they need correction, God can correct them. So I don't attack other ministries, and I'm not attacking Barry Wunsch either. But I will tell you that when he does this shaking, if Leslie sees that, she's going to say he has a Kundalini spirit. Now, does that mean he's not hearing from God? I want to believe he is. But I'm telling you right now, if you go look this guy up, every once in a while, he does this shaking. And she's going to call that a Kundalini spirit. Nevertheless, here's what he says. Again, I'm not attacking him. So Barry Wunsch, June 2022. Now, this is heavily edited for flow because there's so many interruptions there. So he says, I was taken in the Spirit above America. I saw fields, countrysides, highways, cities, towns. The land began to bubble like a pot on a stove bubbles over. I assume that's talking about the riots and trouble coming. In Detroit, there was an event to force America into great repercussions. The plan was to send low-frequency shock waves through the nation. high technology, okay? Probably talking about scalar wave. They were marked geopolitical engineering, but the plan was not successful as planned. It was shorted out, muffled, and highly suppressed, but it was enough to bring exposure to the evil behind it. That's what we're talking about. Talking about an exposure coming. That's what Timothy Dixon said too. It was shorted out, muffled, and highly suppressed, but it was enough to bring exposure to the evil behind it. There were paid sales of people out of the lowest places, paid to cause problems on a large scale, just like one of the Coverstone dreams said. Remember, he pointed and said to all of the wolves, go to the cities, same thing. They were recruited through some very dark groups. They dressed in a way to try and not be detected. These men and women were deeply deceived and had given themselves over to the enemy in every way. They were so demonically influenced that they found pleasure in the atrocities they were causing. Some authorities stood by and allowed them to burn and pillage with little or no resistance. Some law enforcement politicians, bureaucrats, had been bribed with thick envelopes of cash. They were fully compromised. They were owned, bought, and paid for by evil in high places, kind of like what the other guy said. There were some people on the front lines who began to stand up and protect the people in disobedience to their superiors. It became obvious who was paid off and who was not. Trust was destroyed, as they now did not know who they could trust. These brave patriots were telling their families that they were standing up and not sure what was going to happen. As evil progressed, armored personnel carriers and armored vehicles began rolling into the streets. The patriots appeared to resist the evil, but, in fact, it was simply the next level of power grabbing and control over the nation's hot spots. Loudspeakers on some of the units were telling civilians to stay inside and enforcing curfews. They had not counted on tens of millions of patriotic Americans standing up. Patriots began to stand up and fight. Some were more prepared to stand than others. As they began to stand and mobilize, it gave courage to others to also stand. They were coming into a great awakening into the harvest. That's what the other guy said. Love and unity filled the hearts of each one as they began to stand and gather for truth and righteousness, justice, and for one nation under God Almighty. They began to stand up against the evil that had been closing in on them. A new spiritual renewal flowed through them. Many were transformed into an unshakable faith. Many were coming into the kingdom for the first time. That's the harvest, same thing we've been talking about. Helicopters came and went from the White House with an array of leaders. I saw governmental video conferencing with Middle East, Asian, European leaders, and many upset the plan was not working as planned. They were evaluating and recalculating logistics, but things were not in their favor. It was clear the empowerment and favor of God upon those who had taken their positions for the kingdom of God, truth, righteousness, and justice. My impression was that there was not going to be a long conflict. In some cases, it was over as quickly as it started. Within a matter of months, there was a fresh new landscape that they had all been waiting for. The Lord spoke, saying, "Tell my people that we shall prevail. Tell my people that they will soon apprehend the depth of the great darkness that had to be exposed in this nation. They had not seen it with their own eyes. They would not have believed it had they not seen it. Tell my people that there are some dark days ahead, but do not lose heart. For I am bringing this nation into her destiny, and no hordes of hell will stop it. Get ready, for they shall start to turn themselves in. They will sing like birds. No secrets will be withheld. Truth is coming out." I pray this. I pray that evil will turn and report on the bad, that they will expose things like where these suitcase nukes are, who's behind it, that they'll all be found, and instead of used on the good people, either dismantled or turned and used for justice. Tell my people that they shall drink from the fountain, that they never run dry. Tell my people that they have been called by my name, that they shall not have want. They are safe in my care. I believe there's a time where there's great trouble coming. I believe that there is a time when a lot of Americans are going to die. I also would believe, and I'm very encouraged by this, there's also a time of great harvest. There's a time where many will be protected. Now, how do you have prophecies coming out where many die and many are protected at the same time? It's not the same time. I believe they're both accurate. Let's go on. I think that this is one of the most important messages we've had in the last couple of years. And the reason I say that is because I know Pastor Massey. He has been with us on 3 different crusades. Leslie's just got back from Honduras and with several other places with him, working with him. We went to Malaysia with him. I've seen him minister. I know Pastor Massey. I know him well. And I know that he hears from God. Essentially, here's what happened. So on the 27th, I said, Lord, would you speak to Pastor Massey and tell him what's coming? The next day he called, said I had a dream. Here's what the dream was. He said, Joseph came to me and gave me this dream. Yes, the Joseph as in Pharaoh and Joseph in the days of the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. He said, in the dream, my father told me to go get the wheat. When I went to get the wheat, there was no more wheat. There was going to be a food shortage. I was impressed that I should get a bag of wheat and a grinder for it. So when he called me, he said that. I said, okay, have you heard about Joseph Kitchen? I don't think I've told you about that. He said, no, I haven't heard about it. I said, okay, let me explain. Joseph Kitchen is teaching people how to take wheat, grind it to flour, put it in a bread machine. 2 hours, 20 minutes later, they have a nice hot loaf of bread. Then he said, I also saw that all of the 18-wheeler trucks are stopped. Now, I put this out about the DEF, and there's some guy out there saying, oh, no, the DEF is not a problem. I don't care what he says. I believe the prophets. I believe the apostles. And in this case, Pastor Massey is an apostle. When he says that 18-wheeler is going to be stopped, take it to the bank. 18-wheeler is going to be stopped. So I'm warning you again, if you have not been to Joseph Kitchen, if you do not have food in your house for at least a year, you better get after it. So we got about 30 days before August 6th, assuming we're living in a different world by August 6th. Assuming, like they're saying, the trucks are going to be moving for the next 4 to 8 weeks. They could be shut down as little as 4 weeks. I'm going to suggest you go to Joseph Kitchen and get yourself some food. Look, when you don't have food, you can be controlled. But when you have food, you're independent. It's extremely important that you have this. This is a loaf of bread I actually made. I made now about probably 80 of these loaves. Also, most of the people that are offering emergency long-term storage food are out. They're out of stock. Go to their websites. They're all out of stock, many of them. This is a loaf of bread, and on the left, these are stacks or totes filled with wheat. This is our warehouse in Topeka. We've got wheat, and I'm told that we have even more of it now. So, I mean, so anyway, but my point is, you order it, we can ship it. We've got it. We've got it in stock. There's your proof. I've also told, for those of you that have been to the Topeka building, this was where we had the Solemn October Assembly in 2020. Yes, 2020. This is the sanctuary now. Those are what you call pro boxes. What you can't see is they're 4 deep to the left. And we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deep to the right. Each one of those boxes holds 2,500 pounds of wheat. Now, if you look at the side here, well, I guess you can't see it here. This locks the box together. That's not what I'm talking about. But there's a hopper bottom. All they have to do is lift that up. They put 50 or 7-gallon pails underneath it, and they just do like this, and it fills that 7-gallon pail just like that. They fill about 200 pails at about 20 minutes. All of these all of that has wheat in it. So yes, we can ship you wheat. But I'm telling you, you better make sure it gets to you by August 6th. After August 6th, I don't know what happens. Don't wait. I'm telling you, I'm warning you. Look, we've had, I don't know, 14 different people have dreams or visions, several audible voices saying there's going to be a food shortage. We've been talking about it for a while. Here's what you do. Go to josephskitchen.com. You want to order yourself a machine package. This helps you to grind the berries, the seeds, into flour. Then the bread machine, you put in the bread machine along with 6 other ingredients like olive oil and things like that. Push a button, 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice hot steaming loaf of bread. Now, if you take, or at least as far as I'm concerned, I can eat one slice in the morning, one slice in the afternoon, and I'm satisfied. So that, to me, that means that man should not live by bread alone. Even Jesus said it. So that's not everything you need, but it's pretty close to it. Then what you want to do is decide how much supplies, how much food you want to have. You want to have food 1 person 1 year, 2 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 6 people 1 year. And then you just decide how much you're going to get. And if you need something to provide electricity when the grid goes down, there it is. Go to josephskitchen.com. If you go to watchprophecyclub.com, we have a very awesome special for you. We're offering 7 2.5-hour DVDs valued at $210, normally $30 each, for a gift of $20. All of them you can watch for a gift of $20, and you can stream them all, 7, for the next 90 days, all for a gift of $20. Now, here are the 7 you get to watch. Russian defector invasion warning with Stanislav Lunev. This is the guy that came over and said, yes, they've smuggled suitcase nuclear bombs in America. This is the guy. You want to see him? Here it is. And then Russia's secret weapon to defeat America, Bill Snevelin, talking about scalar wave. Russian bear awakes, me talking about how the Russian bear has been awaking. And the storm judgment revival, this is what we talked about a lot from Shane Warren when he's talking about how he saw a storm, an economic storm, and then the Gulf Lakes open up all the way down to Mexico, things like that. Top Secret Soviet War Plans by Jeff Nyquist. This is the guy that researches various Russian defectors. He's the one guy that brought us Stanislav Lunev, and he talks about how they plan to take out America. Then we had Pastor Massey talk on Babylonians are coming. He had like 7 different dreams or visions, also talking about the fall of America. And my favorite speaker, Henry Groover, talking on I Saw Subs Attack America. Now, here's how you can watch all 7 of them for a gift of $20. Go to watchprophecyclub.com, and then you want to click right here. Or actually just scroll down to here, and it'll look like this. Click on Russia and Bible Prophecy. Click right here, and then you can go in, click here, you sign up. Now, this is a really good deal to get Russian Video 7 DVD bundle for $20 for 3 months. That's a good deal. But the best deal is right here. You can get $20 a month forever, and you can watch a number of over 300 DVDs. But the best deal is right here. Get an annual subscription, $200 a year, and you can have all of these 300 DVDs at your access anytime you want to, and you can do that by going to watchprophecyclub.com. The best deal is not $20 a month. The best deal is $200 a year, and you can watch over 300 DVDs. Really good deal. WatchProphecyClub.com. Go check it out. $20 a month or $200 a year. Click like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend.